We're going to work through setting up a file and getting it ready to engrave for a bottle on the laser engraver. Now there's a couple things that I've done to start with. I already have my vectors, what we're going to engrave here. I've also set up a couple of layers for myself for organization. I have an engraving layer, which is this. I have a 3D layer, and then one that I'll use when I render the bottle. Lastly, I've taken a couple of measurements on the bottle. We need both a diameter across the bottom and then a height for the area that we're going to engrave. So I'm going to start with grabbing the circle tool, and I'm going to draw a circle, the diameter. I'm going to anchor it at 0, and the diameter of the bottle that I measured is 2.875. So we'll do that and hit enter. Then we're going to extrude this to the height that we measured. So solid, extrude planar curve, straight, and in this case the bottle is 8.375 inches tall. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that up, hit enter. And there's my bottle. Okay, I'm going to move this to the 3D layer and turn that on. So here's the area that we have to engrave. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to unroll this surface so that we have our area that we're going to draw on. So I'm going to click on the cylinder, go up to Surface, Surface Flattening, Unroll Developable Surface, click Enter. I want to make sure that Explode is yes, so that it'll do the top and the bottom as separate pieces that I can delete. So we'll hit Enter. Whoops, should have had the check mark in the 3D box, but that's okay. I'm going to delete the top and the bottom because I don't really need that. And here's the surface that we have. So this is us outside of the bottle that's been flattened out. Now we found that typically we don't want to go more than about 40% of the length of this if we want it to be visible at one time. So I'm going to go Analyze, Distance, make sure OSNAP is on, and right here it tells me that's 9.032 inches. So I can go over here, 9 times 0.4, and it tells me that I have about 3.6 inches of width to be able to engrave it. So I'm going to draw a rectangle that fits that. It's going to start right here, go 3.6, oops, 3.6 over, drag it up to the top. Now this is the area that we can engrave in. So I'm going to move my vectors over there and switch to top viewport momentarily because I want to make sure that what I'm doing is going to fit in there. And I got lucky this time and it fits. I am going to go ahead and align this to make sure that we're good top and bottom, and we are. If this was too big, then we would scale it down, get it set in there where we want it. Now I'm going to flow this onto the surface so that we can actually see what it looks like. If we select that, turn on Record History, go up to Transform, flow along a surface. Now I have this surface here that's going to be my base surface. Click on that, click somewhere on the surface of the bottle, and we can see that it put it up there, but it did it backwards. So what we have to do, we're going to undo that, is take and make a copy of these, but we're going to mirror it. So copy yes, mirror it so that it basically looks backwards to us. So then that I'm going to move to my 3D layer. And I'm going to turn off that layer to start with. Okay. The other thing that we're going to have to do so that when we render it, if we're going to render it, is we have to extrude this so that we have a little bit of thickness. Otherwise it acts just a little bit weird when we apply it to our bottle. So record history on. Click on what, oh, need to extrude that, excuse me. So extrude. And we don't need to do much. I'm just going to do 5/1000 of an inch. Okay, so we have a little bit of thickness there to this. Now I'm going to highlight that, record history, transform, flow along a surface, click on the edge of the surface, click on the edge of the cylinder, and there is what we're going to engrave on there that has been added to the surface. Now I'm going to copy this to the rendered, turn that on and turn this off. And now we're going to go through and render this based on what we need. So the bottle, this one's going to be black. We'll add a material. I tend to use plastic because it has just a little bit of texture to it. So color picker. We're going to go black, hit OK, assign to objects. We found that we have just a little bit of a grip type texture on our bottles. Actually, I think we go extra small. Yep, there we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and select the text that we have there, what we're going to engrave. And we're going to do new, metal. Go ahead and assign to objects. For the color, it's going to be stainless steel. Hit OK, bump texture none. It's fairly polished, so we can play with that a little bit. And now we've just flown this to the surface, or flow along the surface. We've added some rendering. We could actually go through and render this now. But we have a bottle so that we can see what does it look like. And we have a good picture that we can go ahead and either screenshot or render and send to the client to make sure that that's exactly what we want. If we don't want that, or if we're not happy with it, we still have our original text that we can go back and we can modify this. We can move where it's at, change things, and then quickly render again and send that to the client until we get exactly what they want.